Better now. Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate that. See, that's how you know people care. They send you messages on Facebook telling you your ish ain't right. That's how you know people care, man. Give me somebody that's gonna keep it real with me any day of the week. I love it. Just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? The rest is on me. The rest is on me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we good now, Kamara? We good? Great. Hopefully. Hello, Moto. See, it comes with the territory. And again, this is not the experience that I plan to deliver to you. You know, I don't want nothing like this to happen, but we on the internet. I mean, some of this stuff is out of your boy's hands. But you know, if I'm in control of, I want you to have a pleasurable experience. Hey, good morning, everybody. What's up, Brandy? So I stopped the chop shop and started it again because I was having a tech issue, hence the reason why we started a little bit late. Thank you, Amina. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Now, this is not the experience that I plan to bring to you every single morning. You got better things to do than deal with these kind of issues. So I appreciate you still rolling with your boy this morning. All right? Appreciate that. But in the city of Cincinnati, that's what the problem is. Like the obvious, everybody knows what needs to be done. And then you got all the people that argue against the obvious, right? They dig their heels in deep so that we don't do what we need to be done for whatever their little issues are. You know what I'm saying? That's classic Cincinnati. I'll make that point once again. Eventually, it's going to click with the people that it really means to click to, or maybe it won't. But so now if you're a Walnut, they're supposed to have this big virtual meeting where they were supposed to give us information. But what I'm hearing is behind the scenes, it's like Keystone Cops. Like nobody knows anything. They don't know what, I don't know. Principals don't know. Teachers don't know. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody has specifics about what the plans are. And all I can say to the school board is this is better. This is better than staying virtual. I'm going to make that point along the way just because I'm that kind of guy and somebody needs to do it. So we'll discuss that this morning. All these parents some of these parents are very upset. Some of the parents they're elated. Like, you're going back to school, going to spread COVID. Yay, it's going to be great. Again, coming up at 8:30 a.m., the Collective Empowerment Group Cincinnati chapter is called the Relaunch Fund. It's their second year with micro grants to small businesses in the city of Cincinnati. And then I'm reading off of like a flyer. I'll put it up on the screen here so you can check it out. And again, that's a conversation we're supposed to have at 8:30 a.m. Y'all can hear me now? Great. Sorry about the experience. I want you to have a much more pleasurable experience when you're with me than that. You already know. Yes, we will discuss. If you don't know, there's a new Ohio bill that if it passes will criminalize insults and taunting of police officers. Okay, just as you come in, I want to talk about that. And then starting at 9 a.m., I've got Iris Rowley and Cedric Denson. They're going to chime in. They're going to call in, and they're going to talk about some more of the details. I even got a clip for you that I'm going to play for you of some of the testimony in Ohio. Matter of fact, I might play that before 9 a.m. just because it's so compelling, so interesting. House Bill number 22. That's one to watch. House Bill 22, keep your eyes on that. And House Bill 109. Keep your eyes on that. Yes, because the big issue we have in Ohio is people attacking police officers. Like, where they do that at? And then it's just amazing what the Republicans in the state legislature care about. It's just amazing to me because none of the stuff they care about means anything to me. It doesn't. In fact, it seems to have more of a negative effect, I would say. And I would put this right up there with that. So, where is there like so basically, this is the response of some legislators to the summer of unrest that we had in 2020. Their response is to come up with more ways to criminalize democratic behavior. Like, I would say that in a free and open society, and some of my law enforcement friends forgive me, but I would say that as American citizens, and I'm going to use some so-called foul language here in a second, so you'll know when it's coming up. You can just dip it down or turn away for a second. But I would say in a free and open democratic society, there's few things that are more bedrock First Amendment than being able to tell a police officer, fuck you. or anybody else in this culture. Not just them. I'm just saying, I mean, what's more American than saying fuck you? And you talking about a governmental entity. Isn't that the fair, isn't that the essence of it? Now, I use that extreme example just to say that that's what they're worried about. What insult is it? They call you a pig or something like that? To me personally, I would say that's democracy, because the police are like the front lines and in terms of enforcing laws. And so therefore they're like the front door to the government already. And so the way a lot of people look at them, they are the government, they are the law, right? That's how people look at them. So yeah, you should have the right to say damn near anything you want to say to them. I mean, it's just words. That's for me, there's a lot of latitude. When you say it's a crime to taunt a police officer, taunting can be whatever the police officer says it is. He flipped me off. He said, fuck you. He called me a pig. He said he was going to do my wife, or whatever. What's the worst thing that you can say to, a man or a woman or whatever? I hope you die. Whatever somebody might say. I'm like, it's just words, right? It might be harsh. In a different scenario, you might handle it at work, but you at work now, Mr. and Mrs. Police Officer. I'd like to know what police officers think about this. I'm sure the FOP is going to love this. I wonder about the Sentinels. I wonder about these things. I'm sure the FOP is going to love it. So get here, family. I'm telling you, you see these goofy ass ideas coming from a state near you, pay attention to it. Because it's like a domino effect. All these Gilligan ass, because they get into rooms or Zoom calls and they just come up with a whole bunch of ways to restrict your freedoms. And that's exactly what they're doing with this, in my humble opinion. I mean, right, Kamara, right, sticks and stones, right. Sticks and stones out here. So that's a heads up. And then when they come on, they're going to tell you if you're interested. You might be like, I think it's a good idea. Why are you insulting police officers? Okay, boo, do you. But they're going to come on at 9 a.m. this morning and talk about that, and also talk about some ways that you can be a part of it and what you can do. Because as I understand it, this is just kind of going through committee right now. Ultimately there'll be a big vote, and then it's got to go to the governor. He has to sign it. But I remember back when we were talking about the stand your ground law, and people were like, "Nah, I hope it won't work." But I'm pretty confident that the governor won't sign it. Right? I talked to a lot of people who said that. I'm pretty confident the governor won't sign it, and the governor signed it. So you can never take these things for granted. And again, pay attention to the states around you, the laws, new bills. Just pay attention to it, because, like I said, it's like a goofy ass Gilligan Republican domino effect. What's worse than one Gilligan? 50 states full of Gilligans coming up with goofy ass legislation to, I don't know. I'm not sure what they think is going to do. What it is they want to squash dissent. That's all this is. And this is the same party that's always talking about democracy in some 1776. These motherfuckers kill. I'm talking about these my Republican brothers and sisters out there. I'm talking about you right now. Y'all motherfuckers kill me. Excuse me on language, but talking about some 1776 and George Washington, my ass. Get out of here. Meanwhile, in 2021, state by state, they're coming up with goofy ways to either restrict your voting rights, to make it more difficult just because their guy lost. And he was whack. He was a whack MC. Speaking of Donald Trump, he was super whack. That's why he lost. Oh, man. And then in other states, you run around here trying to, make it illegal to be a part of a protest. But then you want to dress up and get all 1776, right? It's amazing. I'm telling you, what passes as intelligence in these days and times, my friends, is absolutely amazing. These supposed to be smart people, right? Got elected and everything. Ah, man. I don't know who to blame, us or them. I don't know who to blame. Good morning to you. What's up, everybody? Brandy writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Brandy. Brenda writes, happy Tuesday. Good morning to you, Brenda. Sharp writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Ernest Baker writes, good morning to all you decrepit, angry folks who think cursing at adults is something. Hashtag Kurt Franklin's an asshole. Well, we know who that is. That's Fame. Good to see you, Fame. And I agree with you. Kurt Franklin is an asshole. I finally agree with you on something. You're right, he is. I can't believe all these people out here making excuses for abuse. It's that plantation mentality. Oh, Kurt Franklin didn't do nothing wrong. Kurt Franklin did do something wrong. Quit acting like that's normal. If that's normal for your father to call you a bitch ass, that's normal, then we got a real problem. You damn Kurt Frank, you set me off with that, Fame. Thank you. You damn Kurt Franklin enablers, and be the first ones talking about abuse. You don't give a damn. That was straight up abuse. Straight up just father going too far because he getting all frustrated and showing his frailty. That's all it was. Well, I ain't see nothing wrong with it. You don't see nothing wrong with it? Yeah, I mean, that's that man and his son. See, we got to shake up out of this, man. Kamara writes, I think we should hear the entire audio. I may be Kamara, and good morning to you. But from what we heard, we already know a few things. That Kirk lost it that day and got extremely, extremely, extremely out of pocket. And so what the question is who is the real Kurt Franklin? That's what his son was trying to ask you, but everybody missed it because you love Stomp. Is that the name of his? That only works if that's the name of one of his songs. I think it's called Stomp. And look at Kamara here making excuses for this man. It's absolutely reprehensible. I will not be a part of it. He didn't do nothing wrong. Uh-huh. Yeah. Neither did Bill Cosby, right? So the same folks who say probably think Bill Cosby is innocent. Oh my gosh, my work is just starting. Nat writes, look at this abuse in our community. Look at this abuse. Look at this abuse. Kurt Franklin should have cursed that ungrateful seed out. Look at this abuse in here. Look at this abuse. Look at this. Brian writes, not a damn thing. Y'all are wrong. Look at this is straight up abuse. And then we want to understand. We can't understand why the world's so effed up. See, I'm making some huge leaps here. I know. Somebody stop me. I may get a chance to make this point. I'm just setting up the show right now. Then we'll circle back around. I'm making a chance to talk about this more this morning. We'll find out. We'll see how it goes with the interviews. But, I was thinking about it last night. And, if you're a fan of Team Biden, the days ahead look kind of bleak. So if you don't know it right now, Team Biden, Kamala, Biden, and some other members of the Biden administration are going to embark on a United States tour. And what are they touring about? Well, they're touring and they're going to be selling the virtues in a series of like town hall events. Some of them may even be televised. And they'll be touting and talking about the virtues of the plan. And that's great. They're going to talk about that and they want to sell it. Now, this is all politics because the deal is already done. No Republicans got on board. Okay? No Republicans got on board. None of the Republicans thought it was a good enough deal. So we'll see what the American people think, right? But if you think about it and you look ahead, the road ahead, what else is Joe going to be able to do? You know what I'm saying? I mean, because as I understand it, he's going to need at least 10 Senate Republicans. So if you're a fan of Team Biden and you care about the black agenda, right? You care about all of these things. Like realistically, in terms of getting through the Senate, how's that going to get done if you can't get 10 Senate Republicans? And if you can, what would it even look like? And I'm talking about I'm talking about whatever the bill or legislation issue is. Like I hear people talking about, all these things that directly apply to the black community and working class people all across the country. You got to ask yourself them, this conversation back and forth with the filibuster, not to get too inside political baseball with you. I don't think I am with this crowd, but I mean, just think about it. I don't know what else, Joe, I mean, outside of executive orders, he can always do that. But I'm talking about legislatively, like going through the House, going through the Senate, hits his desk, he signs it. The only reason why they were able to do this is because of this budget reconciliation, tool mechanism, however you want to call it, that they were able to use. So they didn't need any Republicans. But how they gonna get something done with as partisan as things are right now? I mean, you can't even get some of these elected officials to agree about who was involved with the Capitol riot. They couldn't even agree on whether Joe Biden was actually the duly elected president. And now that he is president, I don't see anything different from the Republican Party in terms of wanting to work with Joe. I seen a photograph with Joe Biden. He was walking down the hallway, and guess who was right next to him? The Senate Minority Leader, everybody's favorite white man, Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell. And I was like, he was slithering up to Joe. I think Mitch is on another level. Joe, the Democrats leadership, don't let Joe be in a room with Mitch McConnell because he is going to glam his ass. You have him talking like Trump. Samantha writes, good morning, Nathan in the chopper, celebrating my birthday. Blessed to be here another year. Well, that is great to hear, Samantha. Happy birthday to you. Thank you for being here. Amina writes, the town hall meeting was originally today, but they pushed it back till Thursday, right? Thank you for the correction. I think I said yesterday. Are you sure? You sure about that, Amina? You sure it wasn't yesterday? I'll take your word for it until I double check on it. I'll take your word for it. Please take a second to like and share today's show. That means everything. I mean, I'm trying to hit 100 likes. It just spreads the influence of the show. All right. Good morning to you. Let everybody know that we're on this morning. Okay. We got a lot of things to talk about. We already hit the ground running, didn't we? Like, how many people are surprised that you got lawmakers in Ohio that would propose something like this? Not too many, I would say, probably. Like, nobody's surprised by this. We could all see this coming. Ohio bill to criminalize insults, taunting of police officers. Do you think, well, let me be more objective because I'm just showing my bias. I'm just showing my bias. So let me be more objective. Is this a good deal? Is this a good idea, in your opinion? And you might be asking, like, so what do you mean by it? So let me see if I want to play something for you. This is a little bit of the conversation. You can get all this stuff on the Ohio channel. This is the House Criminal Justice Committee. Okay, let me pull this up for you. You got to see this conversation they had with the police chief, I believe, in Columbus. I'm telling you, man, it is wild. This is wild. This is your government. This is your Ohio government in action right here. This is what happened. You're going to work. You're doing what you do. You think that the government's in good hands, or maybe you don't. You just deal with it anyway. And these mofos up here coming up with the dumbest idea ever. The dumbest idea you can come up with. So let me play this for you, and then I'll come in and give some thoughts.
And what it isn't law. And so my concern is this prohibition.
All right, I want to go back a little bit, as you can see.
Exploiting law enforcement officers for indefensible purposes. Most importantly, it will protect lives by.
Oh, we need to hear all of this. This is the testimony.
Ethical decisions.
This is the testimony of the police chief in Columbus. I want to hear all of this. He's advocating for the push of this legislation. Listen to this.
Inconceivable under those distractions. What about a surgeon making microscopic incisions trying to avoid nicking? Not of malpractice like a doctor or attorney might face, but with the actual threat of immediate job loss and a murder charge, one likely to result in prison. We owe a duty to officers to be unencumbered by the taunts of bystanders that created the condition that resulted in the tragic ending. When thinking about this scenario, I often think of analogies that seem to put this frustration and
okay, he just said a mouthful right there, but he says some of the dumbest shit that we have to review. Did you hear what this man just said? So again, this is all happening pretty fast. So you may not understand what we're talking about if you're just tuning in. If you're just tuning in, I want to hip you to what's going on in the state of Ohio. Okay, you need to know this. This is very, very important. Okay, there's an Ohio bill to criminalize insults and taunting of police officers. I'm not talking about Kentucky. I'm not talking about Pennsylvania. I'm not talking about Indiana. I'm not talking about Illinois. I'm talking about Ohio. So if you live in Ohio, this impacts you. Okay. They've been having committee testimony on it right now. This is going on right now. Okay. Look at that on the date, March 1st. I'm sorry, March 4th. So that was what? Maybe 2 weeks ago. Thomas Quinlan. He is, as I understand it, the chief of police of the Columbus Division. He's testifying in favor of it. Listen to his rationale. Listen to what this man is saying as to why there needs to be a law in Ohio that would criminalize you taunting an officer while he's doing his job. He made analogies to being a surgeon. Like, well, what if somebody distracts a surgeon? My question to you is, do you agree with that analogy? Is the way that he is positioning that the proper way to position it, in your opinion? That's what I like to know. Because you might feel like, oh, okay, I get it. He's right. So what he's saying is that in part, it makes it worse. And the officers might do something that results in harm or lawsuits, because while they're in the middle of doing what they're doing, somebody's on the sideline calling them a pig or saying you're a barbarian or you're a dictator or whatever the term is. And that while the officer's doing one thing, he's dealing with this, and then these people are taunting him. He might do something to the person, and it's their fault, really, is what he's arguing. I mean, just think about that. This is the chief of police in Columbus. No wonder we can't get ahead in the state of Ohio. No wonder we cannot get ahead in this fucking state. This kind of dumb ish. So I went back a little bit. I'm going to play it again and then let it keep rolling.
Into perspective. The reality of having lives hanging in the balance while uninvolved people are recklessly diverting your attention away that might, unintentionally result in a horrific consequence. Think of Captain Solly Sullenberger landing a passenger-loaded jet on the Hudson River. Certainly a feat that required the greatest concentration and focus on the task at hand, with many lives in the balance. Now think of Captain Solly surrounded in that tiny cockpit by 4 bystanders, all with cell phones stuck in the personal space, screaming at him he was going to kill everybody on board. Okay, so think about what he's talking about. Think about the analogies that he's making. Captain Sully, is that the dude that landed the plane in the river or something like that? Chelsea Sullenberger is, I believe, his name. Sully, S-U-L-L-Y, I believe it is. U.S. Airways Flight 1549. That's what he's talking about. He's saying he's comparing to an officer, and let's talk this through. So he's comparing an officer who's engaged with somebody. Let's say the officer is in the process of arresting them, or let's say the officer is in the process of arresting someone and he has his knee on their neck, as we saw with Derek Chauvin and George Floyd. This man is arguing that that's similar to when Captain Sully was trying to make an emergency landing of Flight 1549. And I'd like to know, does that make sense? Because if it makes sense, no harm, no foul. And if it doesn't, well, you need to be aware of the type of leadership we have throughout the state of Ohio. All right, more of this. Could even the most experienced pilot have pulled off the inconceivable under those distractions? What about a surgeon making microscopic incisions trying to avoid nicking a critical nerve point or artery? A task that demands focused concentration in an environment free of distractions. No surgeon would tolerate a group of people standing over his or her shoulder, invading personal space and demanding the surgeon do something different than training and experience dictates. I am not suggesting policing is as complex as piloting a jet or being a surgeon, but real lives are impacted just the same. Police work occurs in public areas where there are loud, unexpected noises, bright flashing lights, people running around and coming from all directions, and police being videotaped at all times. This is daunting enough. This legislation is absolutely critical as it will provide a remedy for police to provide lawful commands to maintain a safe distance while people videotape, and expect bystanders not to interfere with or obstruct the officer from official duties, whether the interference comes in the form of physically or mentally obstructing an officer. It is impossible for neither bystanders nor officers to control the variables that might interfere with or obstruct a law enforcement officer in controlling a detainee. But the bystander should not be allowed to be the cause of an event that creates the tragic consequence.
Well, the bystanders should not be allowed to be the creators of the cause of an event. I mean, think about what this man is saying. So he's saying if an officer like Derek Chauvin is in the middle of committing of arresting someone, and then people observe that the officer is doing something way more than they have to do, like Derek Chauvin, or maybe the officer has somebody in a position where it's very obvious to bystanders that you're killing this person, that the fact that these people start saying something is the real problem. Oh, no, Daddy has some drink down there. I don't want you to spill it. You can't get up on mine. Yeah. See all the people over there. What are you doing? See all the people over there, man.
I can't see him.
You don't see him? Look, right here. See him?
I can't
Yeah,
see their face.
he does what he wants to do. I love you, son.
I can't see their face.
Yeah, you spilled it over. It's okay. It's all right, man. We're good. Yeah, you did. You gotta change those socks, buddy. All right. You know, it's my fault for having my tea without the lid on, right? Come on now. It's my fault. It's not his fault. That's daddy rules number one. I knew it was gonna happen as soon as he got in here. But let's see. Good morning. Let me see. I think we should hear the whole audio. That's the problem right there. But what do you think? Kamar writes, not surprised. Amina writes, Ohio. Do you hear this, man? This logic is astoundingly just biased. Like, wow, you can be a police officer and you think like that? So the bystanders, you create the problem, and it's your fault that the officer kills somebody while they're going through an arrest process. Okay. Damn. That is amazing. All right. It's almost 8:30, and I told you that at 8:30 we were scheduled to get a phone call from Paul Booth Jr. to talk about some micro grants. And let me go to the phones. We may have him on the phone right now. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. This is Tina Moore, and just wanting you to know that you'll probably be getting that call, or I can add him to this call.
Okay. Cool. That works.
Let's see if I can add him. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's Gina. That's Gina Ruffin Moore. She's working with Paul Booth Jr. on this initiative.
Yeah.
All good. It's all good. I think it's going to be some important information. So I know we got a hot topic going on, and we'll get back to it like at 9 a.m., everybody. Okay? So make sure you stick around. What's up, Cleopatra? Good morning to you. Good morning. Please like and share this stream. So all the folks out there who are entrepreneurs or hustlers, business owners, however you want to look at it, you got multiple incomes. They've got micro grants. It's called the Collective Empowerment Group.
Oh, you're on the air with Nathan Ivey.
Yeah, is that? I don't hear Paul.
Oh, okay. I thought you were Paul. Let's call you. We'll call back in because I thought he was on the line here. Okay, but
okay.
I'll call back.
Okay, Gina. You thought I was Paul? What the fuck? What is she talking about? I don't know. Yeah, we're on the air now. So there it is, the second year supplying micro grants to small businesses in the city of Cincinnati. I can blow that up, actually. I want to make sure you get all the information. And who Who's eligible? Small minority business owners in the Hamilton County area. What do you need? And then it reads, do you need help for the following employees compensation, including wages and benefits, working capital, equipment, inventory, rent, critical operating expenses. So those are the different things that perhaps you need the funds for. So that's seeing critical operating expenses, rent, here's about everybody, equipment inventory, that hits a lot of people, working capital, and employee compensation, including wages and benefits. Got folks you got to take care of, then this collective fund could be for you. So we'll see if if we can connect with Paul. Until then, let's continue with the conversation. Back to your chat. Roy writes, no, it's not a good idea. Jerome writes, where is my top fan plus? You know, people ask me about that, and I don't know. I haven't done anything. I've said it like a lot of times to people. For whatever reason, Facebook is doing different stuff. They do what they want to do with their platform. Like, speaking of Facebook, because they've been effing with me for the last couple of weeks. Ever since that article came out with the Inquirer, all of a sudden Facebook been effing with me. I'm just telling you, I've noticed it, Facebook. I don't know what I've done to you, but it is what it is. And I really believe that. Speaking of Facebook, I read some information that maybe you can use. I mean, we're on Facebook right now. A lot of people on Facebook all the time. Couple things are going to be happening. Again, I like to give you some updates on what's going on in the world, including the digital world. But a couple things are going to be happening that you may or may not be aware of. So number one, how many people like to do Facebook watch parties? Is that a thing? Are you a big Facebook watch person? Well, you can bid that feature farewell in the next few weeks. Facebook is evolving and they're doing away with that. So if you're a big Facebook watch kind of person, they're doing away with Facebook watch really, really soon. How many folks out there are what you might call influencers? Influencers. Facebook is starting, and maybe they already have. I don't believe so. But Facebook is starting a brand new kind of app. And it's called Super. It's called Super. And it's for influencers. Basically, it's a way that will feature influencers giving video messages and shout outs. So that's the new shit happening with Facebook, which is the app that everybody uses all the time. Just so you know, you heard it here first. I'll keep you up on the latest. Carmelita writes, morning, Nate in the Chop Shop. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Brian writes, the way y'all talking, there should be a bill proposed for parents insulting and disciplining their grown ass kids. Oh, you making jokes now? Okay, you've been making jokes though. Yeah, okay. No, we don't need that, Brian. We don't need that, Brian. It's a damn shame that we can't come together and agree on the basics. This is the basics. It's the basics. Come on, man. Referring to your son as a bitch ass nigga is wrong. Period. I'm just saying, how many people think that's the right way to talk to your son? Stop making excuses for bad behavior. Next, you're going to be telling me R. Kelly's innocent. Next, watch. Good morning to you, Danita. Oh, she's talking to Janine. See, Roy writes, I believe it just passed in Kentucky, or was it Tennessee? It is traveling its route to the governor, which they got a Democrat governor, so I'm hoping he's going to, why would he vote for this? We'll see. You know, never take anything for granted in the world of politics, but no, I don't believe it's Tennessee unless they're doing their own thing down there. Tennessee got other problems. Brent writes, a surgeon has never used a 9mm in the operating room. This dude is a clown. Oh, if only that was the truth. Unfortunately, he is the chief of police in Columbus. And here's more.
Car, and one passenger unexpectedly startles you by screaming in your ear. The startle causes you to drift left of center, striking an oncoming car, tragically causing a teen's death in the other vehicle. As the driver, you will be held accountable for that outcome. Should the person who created the condition to cause the preventable tragedy not also face a consequence? If we are to hold officers accountable with threat of loss of livelihood and freedom, We must allow officers a reasonable space to conduct the dangerous business they were called to address. If there is wrongdoing, the cameras will capture it, both the officers' body cameras and the public's cell phone footage. But the public's actions at an emergency should not create the conditions which lead an officer into making an irreversible error that carries substantial consequences.
Okay, can he give us any examples? Are there any real-time examples in the state of Ohio where an officer was in the middle of, an arrest, and then people were around the officer screaming insults, maybe even doing threats, right? But let's say they're just doing insults and taunting. They're insulting and taunting and things like that, but they're not like right next to you in your ear. It's not like this is the officer and then this is the crowd like in his ear. Because everybody knows you can't be right on top of the police when they're doing their job. They're going to spread everything out and make sure there's some space off the top, right? Everybody knows that. So what are we saying, 10, 15, 20 feet away, something like that? Especially if there's a lot of officers, because when they put these little human barricades so you can't get anywhere close, and they try to block the camera view and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking about? So it's not like you're right on top of them. But I'm asking you, is anybody out there thinks that there's any did it make sense on any level what you just heard this man say? And where they do that at? Give me one example, or give us some examples, because it must, for him to think this way, that up in Columbus, that must happen a lot, where you got Columbus police that are trying to arrest somebody, people start insulting and taunting, and then the officer, because he's so distracted, makes a mistake and kills somebody in a chokehold or something, or shoots somebody. Give me the example, sir, because I ain't seen them. But this is what they do. This is what passes for, being representative of the people. Hold on, let me double check here because I'm not getting any messages. The hell is going on? Officers, this is Don Lee. Officers are expected to be talked about, taunted, and critiqued. It comes with the territory. If this proposed law is BS, I agree. To me, it comes with the territory. You're on the front lines of America's whatever, the drugs, the crime, the politics. You're right there. You're going to hear all of it. Are there any examples of officers who become depressed because they get taunted and insulted? How far are we going to take this? This is unbelievable, but it's true. Nat Rice sounds like fascism to me. Straight to the point, huh? Let me see. When kids start smelling themselves and start mouthing off, what I'm not going to do is sit down here in circle time and discuss feelings. That's Tracy. See, you one of these people too, Tracy. Let me tell you something, sis. There is a big difference between, what did you say here? Sitting down and having circle time and calling your son a bitch ass nigga. It's two different things. There's a whole universe. There's a multiverse between those two. Okay. You got a lot of options between those two. Yeah, I'm just amazed. See, this is why we can't do nothing. This is why we can't go nowhere. This kind of mentality right here. See? Yo writes, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, yo. Good morning to you. Please take a second to go to renewcommunitychurch.org this morning and download your free ebook, a 142-page ebook this morning, part of the Focus 2021 series, brought to you by the folks at Renew Community Church. And something I want you to consider, the more I think about this, the more I talk about this, have you ever had a career coach? You ever had an entrepreneur coach, if that's the thing? Maybe the career coach is the right way of looking at it. You ever had a life coach? Well, here's an opportunity to have that experience. And you can download the possibility or you can download the ebook and then sign yourself up for 30 minutes of coaching. So there's a process. I'll tell you that upset. It's not automatic. They want to get some information from you. I'll just give you a heads up about what it is, the nature of what you want to talk about. Okay, I'll just give you a heads up on that. So, there's a little bit of a process, which means there's going to be a little bit of a line. So start today. Download it today. That way you can get some positivity to start off the new year. The year is still young. The year is young. Also, coming up this Friday at 1 p.m. over at Corinthian Baptist Church, they're going to have the swearing in and reception honoring Charlie Winburn. He's the first African-American Hamilton County treasurer. This is open to the public. They'll provide a complimentary box lunch on the go for all participants. Social distancing will be in effect, and masks, as in face masks, are required. Don't show without a face mask. Don't show without a face mask. It's not going to be good. All right? But all are welcome. All are welcome. All right, so today's show, I'm not sure. I'll try to catch up with Paul Booth Jr. We can. But right now, let's go straight back to the phones. We got Tracy on the line. Hey, good morning to you, Tracy.
You know I had to call in, Nate, and I've really been trying to be quiet on this whole Kurt Franklin thing, but just a few things for me. All right, first of all, background. In my house, we have kids that are 32, almost 20, and almost 17. The 32-year-old does not live with us. You're speaking to someone who has had one of those children swing on me. There will come a time, Nathan, because your son is young, your daughter is still young, where these kids will try you. That's just facts. And when I said sit down and have circle time, that's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to sit down and just say, oh, let's just discuss your feelings. This kid is 33. He's not 12. I don't have to do nothing. And if you confront me like a nigga in the street, that's how you're going to get treated. So when my child swung on me, he lived to see another day. I didn't go to jail, but what I didn't know that I could do was pick him up by his collar with my bare hands. And I tell you what, it made him think twice, and he hasn't done it again. What your kids need to do, should do, have to do is respect you. They don't have to like you. The problem that I have with Kerrion Franklin is that he aired the dirty laundry in the street. He can feel how he wants to feel all day long, but Kirk had the right to retaliate. Sometimes parents get to a level where they've had enough, and that's how it comes across. Kerrion is not about to just go slit his wrist because his father called him a bitch ass nigga. I'm sure that they've been going at it for a long, long time. He'll get over it. But what I have a problem with, like I said, is airing the dirty laundry in the street. And if you're going to come at me like that, then you better be prepared to get handled like that. And it is what it is. So,
Now, Tracy,
Now,
Tracy.
What?
Okay. So that's how you feel.
That's how I feel.
I get it. That's how you feel. That you completely valid in your feelings. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. Great. But all I'm saying is I understand what you're saying, but that means that Kurt was wrong.
Why is Kurt wrong? Because
he lost it.
Why is he wrong? Because he said what he said.
Lost it. He lost it, and then you just compared it to something that is not even a fair comparison. Because we're not talking about.
Are you delusional in the fact that parents don't lose it? One day you're going to lose it.
We are not talking about Kurt Franklin's son almost swinging on him. We're talking about.
We don't know what they've done in the past.
We're talking about Kurt Franklin having a conversation on the phone that got heated, and he called his son a bitch ass nigga. That's what we talking about.
Because they've probably been through worse than that, and he's reached his boiling point.
Okay, he reached his boiling point, but he was wrong. He was wrong.
Kurt can't say what he want to say. So wait a minute. Let me ask you this. So Kerrion wasn't wrong for saying what he said, because he disrespected him too.
I mean, no.
You're making this one-sided.
I'm putting the onus on the parent.
He's not a child. He's not a little kid anymore.
It don't matter. He's still a child to that parent.
It does matter.
It doesn't matter. For the rest of his life,
he's
no matter
not
how
12.
old he
we don't
gets,
need to treat him like
he's going to be Kurt
12.
Franklin's child, not the other way
That's
around.
Never going to change.
That's
never going to change. It's never going to change. His last name is never going to change.
You're right. It's never going to change. He's always going to be Kurt
Franklin's
Franklin's
his respect
child.
factor should.
Kurt Franklin is the adult.
No, they're both adults.
Kurt Franklin is
They're
the
both
other
adults.
adult's parent.
He was an adult when he turned 13. So what? He wears the title
Okay,
of
maybe that
child.
wasn't
He's
the best way of
33
putting
years
it.
old. He knows better.
You jumping on that and running with it. It wasn't the best way of putting it. That
Okay,
man
but
is
where's the
always going
lie?
to be
He's an
Kurt
adult.
Franklin's child. Period.
Where is the lie? Carrion is an adult. He should not be treated like a child.
Carrion
He's 33
is
years
Frank
old. He's not 3.
Carrion is Kurt Franklin's child. There's no way around that,
Okay,
Tracy.
so where are you going with that? He's always going to be his child. He's always going to be his father.
Since
But
he's
his
always going to be his child, he should treat his child that way. And he should talk to his child
Nathan,
that
come
way.
on. We
Even
don't
when he
treat
gets
children like
frustrated.
children when they're 33 years old. Come on. Let's
I'm
be
not
clear.
saying you can't get heated. I'm saying specifically about him referring to his son as a bitch ass nigga. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That
Well,
phrase
let's talk
in
about what
particular.
Carrion said, too, because this child, as you refer to him as, was disrespectful and cussed at his father, too. So where's the fault in that? If he's a child and he's supposed to be respectful,
Did he call
why
his
are
father
you
a
just
bitch ass
beating up
nigga?
on
No.
Kirk? Because he's the father?
Did he call his father a bitch ass nigga? No.
He said the F word. Play it again.
I didn't say
He said
anything about the
word.
F word. I said nigga. That's what my issue
Okay,
is.
so you putting weight on one more weight on one conversation than the other.
I'm saying
As a
that
33-year-old
I'm
child, he should know better.
You asked me, let me tell you. I'm saying that when I listened to the conversation, what stood out to me is when he referred to his son as a nigga. That's where I thought that Kurt Franklin went too far. That's my issue.
Okay, well,
And
Nathan,
he
listen.
did. That's why he apologized.
No, he apologized because he cares a little bit about his image. Let's be clear. That's why he apologized. But let me just say, Nathan, and I know you have good children. We all see the good in our children, but one day they will test you, and you cannot say what you will or won't say until you get there. When you cross that bridge, you know it might be a little less harsh than bitch ass nigga, but kids will take you there.
You're right. I don't disagree with any of that.
And if they're 33 and you got to say that, so be it.
No, it's not so be it.
That's just how I feel about it.
You can't just say whatever
he
to
is
your
not
kids.
going to.
You just can't say. You should never just say. Well, you should never talk to your kids the way you would some stranger.
Okay, well, maybe that kid is a stranger to him. Maybe that's why he talks to him like that.
Okay. And
let's think about that. He could be carrying. Could be a whole stranger to that family.
Is that? That's probably Kurt
it could
Franklin's
be anybody's
fault
in that family. Maybe Carrion wants to be a stranger or is a stranger because he feels like he doesn't fit in the dynamic because he didn't grow up in that household. Who knows?
Or maybe maybe Kurt Franklin behind closed doors is a real egomaniac asshole, and we got a glimpse from behind the curtain. I'm just saying,
could be all of that, but it still doesn't change the fact that man is 33 years old and he should not be treated as he is 12. That's just my
he should be
whole
treated like he is
theory.
A child to that parent, and
no,
he's always going to be that
no,
way.
He shouldn't.
Yes, he
no,
should.
If you all keep treating your 33, 23, 53-year-old kids like they're children, and you're gonna have some soft children. When they're adults, they're adults. You cross into adulthood for a reason, and you're not going to be treated like a child.
I know all of that. I realize that, Tracy. I don't care when they call it crossover to adults. They already challenging me, but you're right. Kids challenge you. We're going to have those moments. And in those moments, I don't care what my son does. I'm not going to refer to him as because he's not under any circumstances, no matter how frustrated I get. I'm not saying I might say some other words.
You might say something
I'm
else,
just saying
right?
I'm never going to call my son that. That's it.
Hello?
I'm still here.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, we sort of agree on some things and disagree on others, but all I can say at the end of the day is wait for it because kids will take you there, and that's just my final thought.
All right. Appreciate your final thought. That's Tracy. Come on now. Y'all know I'm a cardiac patient. My blood pressure up. It's not good. Me and Tracy agreed on everything except for that one point. So she thinks it's okay to give. I just don't see what that is. I'm being honest with you. Maybe it's because I'm just not there yet. Like, he's sick. So how frustrated can you really be at a 6-year-old? But let's say my son is 26. He bigger than I am, talking crazy-ish. I'm not saying I'm not going to get with him. That's going to happen. I don't see those days happening because way before we get to that, there's a whole process. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really worried about that. But if it happens or when it happens, it's going to happen on some levels because you're right. People test you, not just kids. People test you. But your children are going to challenge their boundaries. Little Buddha been doing that. So, yeah, we hip to the game. And sometimes we have to have that real moment with her. Yeah. But what's the female equivalent? So if your son's a bitch nigga, then what's your daughter when you get really, really mad, Kurt? If your son is a bitch nigga when you get really, really, really mad, Kurt, then what do you call your daughter? See, that's the way my mind thinks. But y'all keep making excuses for bad behavior if you want to. I'm not gonna do it. I ain't doing it. Curtis writes, the police chief made a stupid analogy. Oh, okay, thank you. I thought it was just me. Anthony writes, totally ridiculous argument. Ridiculous or not, he made the argument 2 weeks ago. Let's get back to this.
Consequences for everyone involved. Officers are just seeking a level playing field. It has been said policing is about making complex ethical decisions under time constraints without full information in a non-civil arena that affects people's lives and is portrayed to millions of people through social media by millions of wannabe journalists. Do we really expect police officers?
Why is he taking shots, man? Millions of wannabe journalists. Hold on. He got funnies. Thomas Quinlan has funnies. He loves to take little shots. Bet he's a Trumpster. Bet he love him some Trump. He's got that Trumpian look to him. I could be totally wrong, and if I am, I apologize, Thomas Quinlan, but you got Trump all over you. All over you, man. Talking about some wannabe, would-be journalists, budding journalists. Come on, man. That's the people, man. Citizen journalism. Citizen. Amina writes, a pilot is in the cockpit with his co-pilot. Nobody else is in there. Listen, don't tell Thomas Quinlan he didn't make a good point. I mean, and with Mike DeWine being the way Mike DeWine is, listen, they put this on his desk. He might sign it. I would say he'll probably sign it. If you ask me what I think will happen, I would tell you that if this gets on the desk of the governor, he's going to sign it. He's going to sign. Let me flash forward a little bit, see to the action.
Tough job, and I appreciate the work that you and your department has done in the last couple of years.
It's the Q&A phase.
Hope you're doing well in your new position.
I am. Thank you.
The purpose of obviously the legislation or any legislation is to create clear and ambiguous rules that people can follow so that they know exactly what the law is. And
okay, if you're just tuning in, what are you watching? Hold on one second. What are you watching? Okay, you're watching the committee conversation about House Bill number 22. What is House Bill number 22? Well, House Bill number 22, that's Ohio House Bill number 22. So you live in Ohio in particular, this matters to you. Would criminalize insulting or taunting a police officer. We've been watching some of the testimony from Thomas Quinlan, who is the chief of police, I believe, in Columbus, the Columbus Police Division. And he's testifying in favor of passing it for several reasons, he said, because it would distract the officer. The officer might do something to the person that he's already doing something to. So imagine a scenario that's kind of like George Floyd. And people are screaming and yelling and insulting and taunting the officers who have their foot on the neck of George Floyd. What this man is arguing is that those people doing that are making the situation worse and might lead to the officer doing something that kills somebody or does something wrong or something like that. So now this is the Q&A phase where the Democrats and others, the members of the committee, can ask questions.
Prohibition from mentally interfering with an officer. I'm going to read you a transcript, and I want you to tell me whether you think these people are mentally interfering with an officer. Here are the bystanders. Get him off the ground, bro. Get him off the ground. He ain't doing any of that shit. He's not resisting arrest or nothing. You know it's bogus. You can't even look at me like a man. He's not even resisting arrest right now. He's about to pass out. I think he's passed out. He's not even breathing now, bro. Do you think that's cool? Do you think that's cool? You're a bum, bro. You're a bum. Can't you see that he's not even breathing right now? Police officers, don't come over here. Don't come over here. Up on the sidewalk. We need you to keep some distance. Those are the three responses from the officers. And I don't want to sandbag you. This is the transcript from the George Floyd arrest and ultimate murder.
So that's Rep. David Leland, Democrat from the 22nd District in Columbus, y'all. And he just brought up a question, and he used the literal verbatim words that were uttered during the scenario in which George Floyd lost his life as an example to test what would happen, if it happened in Ohio and this bill is passed, just so you know what's going on. Okay, so let's get to the greasy part.
So would a reasonable person think that would be having bystanders mentally interfering with a police officer? I mean, we obviously know what happened, and obviously in retrospect, nobody would. But at the time, would it be reasonable to expect that people would assume that these bystanders were mentally interfering with the police officers?
Well, excellent question, Chairman LeRae, and I apologize.
Leland? I'm sorry, I turned my name tag around.
Yeah, thought it was Leland. Thank you, sir. Yes, I think that has the ability to, but the burden is on the officers to explain and direct people that you need to allow me to do my job, stay in a safe space so I can do my job and not interfere. So without that qualification by an officer, it's not on its face going to be looked at as a violation of law. They have to be given notice. The officer has to direct them to do something that they fail to do. So if an officer does not have that person yelling at them, maybe they have the actual time to be looking at what's right in front of them, the individual on the ground, and realize the mistake, the tragic, fatal mistake that they were making. And that's part.
The mistake. So this man believes that Derek Chauvin just made a mistake because he was distracted. Think about that. This is the current police chief in Columbus, Ohio, and this man believes that David Chauvin mistakenly killed George Floyd because he was distracted by all the people who was telling him that he was killing George Floyd. That makes sense? That's wild to me, man. We're living in amazing times, my friends, when that makes sense. But that's what the man just said. Where my Columbus people at, man? Damn. Y'all on the Amistad up there. Damn. And think about what the impact could be to the collaborative in the city of Cincinnati if something like this passed. It seems to me to be like just a way to just eviscerate it, right? Just cut the guts out of it. I mean, and think about what a tiny threshold for an officer to just like jump over. All you have to do in the mind of this particular officer is for an officer just to say, listen, y'all need to leave the scene right now. So that's what he just explained. So just think about this. You got to think about it logically, right? So what this man just said, and he's in favor of this in the state of Ohio. What this man just said, using the example of Derek Chauvin and George Floyd, is that if an officer is doing what Derek Chauvin did, and people start to gather about and start to insult and criticize the officer and taunt the officer, if the officer says, listen, leave the scene right now, and they don't leave, then he believes that the officers who were always like 3 or 4 of them who were all asphyxiate and kill in the process of murdering George Floyd, that they would have had the right to arrest you, right? And cite you because you didn't take his command. That just seems to me to be very undemocratic. And think about the widespread usage of that, right? Because that's just all part of it. People face off. Everyone in the crowd's got a different kind of attitude. Somebody's going to say something slick. It just goes with the territory. But these are the things that are happening around us. Amina writes, that's like comparing apples to blueberries. Christy writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Christy. This is the best they could come up with. Shaking my damn head. That's pretty good, though. Brent writes, mentally obstructing an officer. Wow, right. Mentally obstructing an officer. What are we all now? Professor X? Damn, I need to tap into my untapped mutant abilities and start using that ish, man. Psh. Mental obstruction. That's right, Al. Good morning to you, Al. Mental obstruction, y'all. The fuck is that, right? I don't know. Because you might distract the officer, and the officer might do exactly what you're criticizing the officer to not do, which is kill somebody. You know, you see an officer put somebody in a chokehold, and you watch this person get chucked out. They don't want you to open your mouth. Like, you can stand there, just don't say anything. Just don't say anything. And then once they pass that, it'll be don't look at them. So it'll be illegal when an officer is committing an arrest. Everybody turn their backs. Turn your back. Don't make eye contact. Because if you make eye contact with an officer, you're doing what Cal Kuzma said about he was doing with LeBron. You're eye-effing officers. Don't do it. Because nobody can resist when you're looking at somebody straight in the eyes. Don't make these officers get distracted from the task on hand by looking at them. That's next, right? Makes sense to me. I mean, it makes as much sense as mental obstruction. Brian writes, this is so ridiculous and a slap in the face to tax-paying citizens. Don writes, you should ask Cecil Thomas his position on this. He is our representative in the CO. You know what? I am going to ask. I'm going to do just that. I'd like to know where he stands on that. Brent writes, there are already laws on the books to deal with obstructing during arrest or not following a police officer's commands to back up. Right. It's called obstructing. It's called obstruction. I'm on official duties, or I'll just say obstruction, something like that. Where my lawyers at? They know the truth. Put it out there. Yeah, I mean, because the officers need to be protected from you using your First Amendment rights. They need to be protected from you eyeball effing them, like Cal Kuzma. You got to be hip into what's happening in sports culture to understand. If you don't, then I get it. If you do, then you're like, oh, he mixing a Cal Kuzma flow. All right, cool. All right, let's go straight to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Yo, can you hear me?
Oh, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All right, let me make sure. Can I say what this? I know you're on the line.
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, how you doing?
Great. Good morning.
Cedric?
Good morning.
Hey, guys.
Good morning. Nathan, can you hear us?
Yeah, sure
I
can.
sound like I'm here.
Loud and clear.
All right, great. I've been listening to you this morning, so thank you so very much for having this very important conversation with your listeners. Just reading the comments and hearing people. I want to first say thank you to State Rep Denson for giving me a call, as we should have our state reps do when things of this nature are coming down the path. This particular bill, this one, because this is not the only one that is coming. Well, let me just set some context to what we're talking about this morning, dear Brother Nathan. And I know that when we called you last night and we talked about this bill and then the creation and the language and why we're starting to see these things come about, it is just amazing to me how we can be out protesting the wrong of police, the wrongdoing of police and other systems, and trying to fight for equity, and trying to fight for policy change and tangibles and things that will make fairness for everyone, including Black people. It's amazing to me how every time we see something, when a police officer goes outside of their duties and behave poorly, badly, take a life, traumatize, harm, dehumanize, all these things that we've seen for many years. And when we are out fighting for these changes and we're pushing for these changes, how we can't be traumatized and harmed, and that we have to watch our language. It is amazing to me how something such as this can come about. And if you're seeing an officer doing something inappropriate, if you're seeing an officer you know is about to take a life, if you're seeing a human being, a supposedly human being doing something, let's just say to a child, that you're just supposed to stand there and not say anything. Or maybe, Mr. Ivy, they may have the wrong individual. This is why these bills need to be addressed by us. And this is why we have to pay attention to what goes on around us. For me, Iris Rowley, to have spent the last 20 years trying to get equity and policies as it relates to policing, this is one of the worst things that you can ever imagine. This will supersede what we have in the city of Cincinnati. Thank goodness we do not have a police chief like they have in Columbus. My goodness, could you imagine that would support something as ambiguous as this bill is, whatever Taunting is. And so I think that this is why we should always be mindful of not what local legislators are doing, but what's happening at the state level. So
Hey,
I
Iris.
started out by saying thank you to State Rep, and I want to
Iris, can you hear me?
say that again.
Can you hear me?
I can. I hear a lot of background noise.
I do too. So I want to ask you: do you have two phones on?
No, that's said on the other line. That said, do you have your windows down? I know that. I think he muted himself.
Oh, okay. He muted himself. Okay. Yeah, sounds. I could hear something. I thought maybe it was like somebody. It was like two phones up, and I'm like, yeah, we got two phones, but I'm like maybe a phone in the background of one of you guys.
Is that better?
It is better. Yep.
Okay.
Just want to make sure people can actually hear you.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to get that out. And so for me, as a Cincinnati Black United fronter, as a person who's been fighting for equity and changes over many hundreds of policies as it relates to Cincinnati police, this concerns me. This language should just say we're going to let the overseers tell y'all what to do. And so it is critical that we pay some more mind to it. State Rep Vincent, do you want to give a little more detail about the particular bill?
Yes, and thank you, Nathan, for having us on at such a short time. But House Bill 22, I think, is going to be just the beginning of a series of bills that we're going to start to see that is really going to put a lot of fear and intimidation into people to, like Iris was saying, to just stand back and say nothing. I think he said that earlier. You can stand and film, but don't say anything. To think about just standing there with a cell phone trying to capture something, watching somebody literally have their life taken away, and you're silenced. If you open your mouth, then that could then be you who is on the ground, because now they have a reason to detain you. So this is just the beginning of a whole series of bills. Unfortunately, there is another bill coming right on the heels of this, House Bill 109, which is increasing penalties for how you are to conduct yourself at a protest in the state of Ohio. And unfortunately is sponsored by a representative out of Hamilton County. She is a former Cincinnati police officer. Her name is Cindy Abrams. House Bill 109. So it's just the beginning. If we let them get away with this, we're going to have ourselves in a real terrible situation. I'm encouraging people to speak up and say something. The committee is happening tomorrow in Columbus. For those who can, come up and testify. For those who can't, you still can have written testimony, which goes on the official record, which then gives us, as members of that criminal justice committee, which I am a member, the opportunity to speak up and ask questions to the authors of the bill, to ask questions to other folks that may be coming to testify before us that are in support of the bill. One of the questions I had for the police chief was, how does this improve police community relations? And I brought up the fact that we have the collaborative agreement. And as we talk about expanding that work and how we try to improve relationships, this sets us back to the very beginning of how we always started to have these conversations. So it's obviously bad, but one thing that I started to notice in the committee when the right questions started to be asked, the authors of the bill started to back up and were willing to change some things about it. So therefore, I think that's an opportunity if we have enough people who know what they're talking about weighing in on this bill as an opponent. We don't have clear direction because, unfortunately, when you're in the minority, they control everything as far as process. But for those who want to weigh in, whether that means coming up to Columbus to testify or submit written testimony, if you just email rep33@ohiohouse.gov, that's rep33@ohiohouse.gov, we will get you the appropriate instructions on how you can do that.
Now, Nathan, you had the summary of the bill up. Can you pull that back up, please?
I think I do.
Because people need to understand the context of what this bill is.
You said House Bill 109, right?
Well, no, you can go back to House Bill 22.
House Bill 22?
Bill 109 is coming. Yeah, House Bill 22. This is the one that will be up for discussion tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll pull it up.
That's the one that, yes. House Bill 109 is the one that the governor is talking about as well, and that's the one that State Rep Vincent referred to a few minutes ago.
Which has already had a hearing as well.
So what's that process now, Cedric? So it's had a hearing, so what are the other steps before it goes to the governor?
Sure. So the process will be, we typically end up having about 3 hearings on the bill before we vote it out of committee. Once it gets voted out of committee, it goes to a committee called Rules and Reference, and that is where a bipartisan group within the House, they voted to the floor, which all 99 members would then vote on, and then it makes its way across the hall to the Senate. They go through the same process that it went through in the House, assuming that the Senate will vote it out as is. Then it goes straight to the governor. But there is a case where the Senate could say they want to make changes to the bill and they will add amendments on it. In that case, it then has to come back to us at the House as a full body. If we accept those amendments, then we send it to the governor. If we do not accept those amendments, what is then created is called a conference committee. And that's where members from the Senate and the House will then sit down and try to work out something that both sides can agree on before it gets to the governor. But because we've already seen something similar to this in Kentucky, and I'm sure other state legislatures are dealing with it, this is probably something that the group like ALEC or all these other nationwide groups are sending into legislatures to happen. So it's going to be my assumption with both a majority of Republicans in the House and the Senate that whatever we pass is going to go straight over there and they're going to accept it the way it is and it'll go to the governor. And I'm watching the systematic things of what's going to be the...
I don't. Nathan?
Yeah, we just lost Cedric.
Yeah, I think we may have lost him. But what he's giving you is the rundown of how these things typically go.
Right.
But these bills are on a fast track to getting pushed and passed throughout the House. And so it is incumbent upon us to have our voices heard to stop and protect protests. So this could easily criminalize someone that's planning. Hold on 1 second. He's calling back, Mr. Audi. Hold on 1 second.
Do we lose you too?
Are you there?
Still there?
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, we're here. Yeah. We're here. And so this could potentially put you in a way to be scrutinized criminally for planning a protest. And if you see something that you can't say anything, and it could ratchet up not just to a misdemeanor, but if you read the summary of the bill, depending on police perception of what they believe someone has done, not that they've been convicted of anything, then it could ratchet up to a felony for you as well. If they believe that that person is a felony fugitive or committed a felony crime, they can apply that to you. And so it is really, really crazy. In these times, because we know what we're seeing. It's not like we didn't see Mr. Floyd be kneed to death. It's not like Breonna Taylor wasn't killed because of a botched up, stupid, non-factual, no-knock warrant. I mean, these things are real. We are watching these things in real time. And who's to say? I don't know, Nathan. I'm just speaking for Iris Rowley. I may have to jump in, or if I see somebody's wife being snuffed right in front of my face, how dare you think that because you wear a uniform and you have a badge and utilities around your waist, that we should allow you to just be out here doing these things in the way that they want to have them done. This is a clear smack in the face. Anybody that wants to connect it back to the collaborative agreement, a clear smack in the face to police community relations. It is too much latitude for police. When we've seen on all the body-worn cameras, we see police cussing at us. We see police talking crazy to us. But you can't respond to that, or you're just supposed to take it and just stand back and watch a crime being committed in your face. No, this should not. This bill should not go any further without our voices being heard. We're asking for accountability. That's all we've been asking for accountability, and now they're telling us we can't even ask for that in real time. I'm sorry, State Rep.
I wanted to say this too, to bring people back to how this really plays out. I don't know if most folks remember, but we had a very own congresswoman, Black congresswoman here in Ohio when the protests were happening up in Columbus, who ended up getting pepper sprayed. But the reason that she was even up dealing with the situation was cops were just pepper spraying folks who weren't doing anything, and she was saying stop. Under this bill, she would have been arrested. Our very own congressman who's trying to de-escalate things, which, as far as my understanding goes, because that's what cops are trained to do, she would have been arrested for trying to keep a crowd calm, trying to keep everything peaceful when they're just standing there being pepper sprayed by a cop. They're literally stripping us of everything, and we know that most of these things we see across the country, had it not been for folks standing there with their cell phones videotaping that, we wouldn't have some of the things play out the way that they do. And so just think now, if they can put the fear and intimidation of folks, that if you're standing there videotaping, they could consider that taunting. It almost comes down to the whole nature of, I fear for my life.
Right.
Well, now they have another tool in their toolbox to say, well, I was taunted. But they get to, and even when you read the bill, it says in certain situations. So that means it's leaving it up to that officer to determine what that certain situation is.
Absolutely. So Nathan, I'm going up on Wednesday. I love my life. I'm trying to stay safe. I'm trying not to be infected by COVID. But I think this is extremely important. As one who's been on the ground fighting, to talk about why this is a slap in the face to all the work that we've done over the past 20 years, to talk about why we are not standing for going back to the overseer time, to talk about what the accountability that must be had, and to counter what the chief of police of Columbus had to say. I mean, the crazy analogies and the examples that he was making, and just his response to what State Rep said about the collaborative, and would this do something to community police relations? And he stumbled and fumbled, and finally he was just like, like, we don't even care about that. So this is why we got to stand up and fight, and this is why we all should be reading these House bills, having connection to our state rep. So again, I want to thank State Rep Denson for coming and saying, because he was blowing my phone up, and I was in the midst of working with the young folk and doing the stuff that we are doing here for the Cincinnati police, and he's saying, no, listen, you got to read this bill, and just the criminal penalties that's attached to it. I don't think it's going to stop. I agree with said. Yeah, you can film right now, but next month you won't be able to film. Next month you won't even be able to stand on the same block if we allow them to continue down this path of taking our rights away, of taking our fundamental right of ensuring that another life is treated fairly. That's our role when we're out and we're protesting and we're screaming and we're shouting and we're angry and we're mad. That's our role, is to take care of one another. And so to have these bills put in place like this is crazy. Just imagine if the police are lying on top of your son and your daughter. We've seen it. You're gonna be screaming, get up off of them. It's just, this is truly a smack in the face to what we've been doing, and I'm going to Columbus to let my voice be heard. Our state rep, is there a time that people need to have written testimony in? Did you give them your email, and how does one submit a written testimony if you didn't say that?
Yeah, we're working with the chair's office right now to get a clear, defined process, because it's at the discretion of how he wants to handle that. So I'm just encouraging everyone, if you want to do written testimony and or come up, just email rep33, REP33 at ohiohouse.gov, and we will follow up. We put a couple calls in this morning and have yet to hear back. I'm actually on the road right now on the way up to Columbus. So as soon as we hang up, I'm going to call his cell phone and see if I can track him down. I was just sent his number, but things are going to move pretty quickly. And the more voices we have putting some pressure on this against, the better off we'll be.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and alarming the community about what's going on. And I'll keep pushing this email and keep talking about it this evening. Throughout the show and into tomorrow, and really throughout the rest of the week, so people know what they can do about it. So I appreciate you both.
All right, appreciate you.
Yep.
We'll keep you in the loop. Make sure that we'll let you know what happens on Wednesday and today when State Rep gets back. If there's any additional information, Mr. Ivy, we're ready for noontime with Nate. If we have to get back with people and let folks know what's going on.
Okay, please do. I'm flexible.
All right. Thank you,
take it easy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Easy. That's State Rep Cedric Denson. You can email him at rep33 at ohiohouse.gov, and Iris Rowley. A lot of folks in Cincinnati know Iris Rowley throughout the community and the work that she continues to do. I got the word last night. I'm like, oh, we got to talk about this. This is important. So I'll leave that up so people. And again, what he's saying is, in case you was distracted or whatever, people talking with you, that for him as a member of the committee, it would be very useful for him to get public comment. So if you're someone who from what you've heard so far, you're like, I don't like this idea. What he's saying is, email me your thoughts. This is such and such and such from such and such and such. Here's how I feel about House Bill 22. Okay, that's what he's saying. And then when he's in committee, he can now use that to reference. Like, people in my district feel this way type of thing. Okay. Now I think that's a relatively small way of moving past just talk. And that's actually an action that a legislature who's concerned about this can use. Okay, so if you feel some kind of way about this, if you think it's a bad idea, sometime this day, hopefully today, tomorrow, sometime this week at the latest, rep33 at ohiohouse.gov. That's pretty easy to remember, right? I think so. Rep33. All right, speaking to it's easy to remember, I want to remind you that the good folks over at Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Inc., that's the Zeta chapter here in Cincinnati, Ohio, they put together something called Get Engaged, Be the Courage. And they're doing a Zoom community event, the 2021 Cincinnati election. What's at stake? I'll be your moderator, along with a whole lot of very good, smart people. So I'm very excited to be and very flattered to be a part of this. Just want to help as much in terms of the community. Bill Woods, the founder and president of Applied Information Resources. Ashley Young, the VP of Policy and Strategic Initiatives at the Urban League of Urban League of Greater Southwestern Ohio. Desiree Futel, Vice President of Voter Services, the League of Women Voters, Cincinnati, Ohio, and yours truly, your boy Nate Ivy. So I'll be your moderator. It'll be a live event on Saturday, March 27th from 1 p.m. until 2 p.m. Okay. And don't forget, coming up on, let me make sure I got the date right, the 30th, the NAACP, that's 2 weeks away, 2 weeks from today, the NAACP will be doing their first of this season, this year's virtual town hall events. This time, they'll be talking with all of the mayoral candidates. This is the primary mayoral candidates. Okay. They'll all be Democrats. And all of them want to be mayor. Okay, I just got the message that Paul had to cancel. Okay. Well, I'll put it up anyway and put it out there. Maybe we'll catch up with Mr. Paul Booth Jr. sometime in the future. So he had to cancel everybody. Just got the word from Gina. Where was I? Okay. So, yeah, coming up in 2 weeks from today, it's the first of the mayoral, or really this year, election cycle virtual events that the NAACP is doing. Everybody watched the last time. Super accessible. Very, very informational, and you can get a sense and get a first look at the candidates side by side. I am scheduled to be your moderator. Looking forward to it. That'll be on the 30th at 6:30 p.m. On the 30th at 6:30 p.m. Since we here. Focus 2021 series. Download your free ebook today. Once you do, hit me up with a DM and tell me what you think. While you're at it, you can also sign up for 30 minutes of coaching. Now, that's a pretty big, broad coaching. What kind of coaching? Could be life coaching. Could be business coaching. Could be coaching as an entrepreneur. You might be at a crossroads business-wise. You're at a crossroads. You've been asking friends and family. Fork in the road type scenario. You need an objective viewpoint. Then sign up for 30 minutes of free coaching with Charlie Winburn, and perhaps he can help you. Perhaps he can help you. Man, I haven't heard from this man in a minute. Let's go to the phones and talk to John from Princeton, New Jersey. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivey, and the good people of Cincinnati, as well as the good people around the world. And yes, those choppers. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome.
Been in exile for a good week or two. I guess I've been pretty busy. Plus, this is we just finished up Black History Month, and in the midst of Women's History Month, so I've been doing interviews. I think I'll send that clip to you of the latest interview I did on WAOK radio station in New York about a week ago. A very interesting interview, one of the popular stations in Atlanta, Georgia. I'll send that clip to you probably later on. Maybe you might want to look at it. And I don't mind if you post it. It is Women's History Month. The interview was focusing on the book and documentary I did, which you got a copy of that, on African American women in World War II. And I can announce on the Nathan Ivey Show right now, there are two companies, one in Atlanta, Georgia Film Company, and one in Hollywood, that's very much interested in the book, as well as the documentary and the script I wrote on that lost history. Not too many people know that Black women served during World War II, just like the Tuskegee Airmen, but I'm happy to know that I got it out there. But if this becomes a film, I will be happy to come on the Nathan Ivey Show and mention it to you, and as well as the choppers, about this lost history that should be talked about. And there is a congressional bill in Washington to give recognition to what African American women done during that time. I think I'll try to shoot that clip to you too. So you're on top of the scene when it comes to giving you the tidbits of information.
Appreciate that.
As I was listening to your two guests that you had on, very interesting. And I think I came in the midst of it. I'm just coming out of the gym, just getting back on track with everything. And I tuned in because I don't just, for some choppers that think John just calls up blindly, he's not listening to the show. No, I do listen to the show before I call up so I can stay on top of local events in Cincinnati. You know I love Cincinnati, Ohio, and as well as local, state, and national events. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Nathan Ivey, keep me on track. The NAACP is having their convention when, so the choppers around the globe will understand and know those dates. And my question to you, is this going to be Zoom? at the conference, or are you going to be doing something special with film interviews and everything else?
So you say conference. I mean, so what I just announced is on the 30th of this month, 2 weeks from today, the
Yes.
NAACP is going to have a virtual, they're going to stream it online from their Facebook
Oh, okay.
page, a
Great.
well, not a town hall, but a political forum with all of
Yes.
the Democrat primary mayoral candidates. I think there's 6 of them.
Interesting. Now, are you? I'm assuming it's going to be a Q&A with the candidates up there, and
Oh yeah.
are questions are going to be allowed to be taken from the choppers around the globe that may have questions on local politics? I think that would be curious. I'm sure you'll have audience with mics and asking questions, but will you be a way to for somebody that calls in or sends a note in about a question? Maybe some kind of way you can arrange that where you can throw in a couple of
Yeah, well,
questions
John,
from.
this isn't our first time doing it. So yeah, so typically what happened is it's all Zoom style. So it's a Zoom style virtual event. So everyone will be wherever they are. And I'll be where I am right now. And but yeah, you can bring questions in. Typically, the NAACP, Prince Hall Masons, Nathan and I, we're gonna be prepared.
Right.
You already know that with questions, but you can't think of everything, and then people are the best source, right? People always come up with a question you never thought of. It's just the way it is. So yeah, definitely. To answer a long-winded way of saying yes, there will be a chance to get questions in.
Well, I'm going to definitely zoom in on that day and put that on my calendar.
Okay, please do. Great to hear.
So I can, even if I don't get in or call or anything, I'm just going to listen. I like to know what goes on locally and to know who that next mayor is going to be there in Cincinnati. One question that I'd like to ask you before you go, before I let you go, is who do you think that has a great shot of possibly becoming mayor?
I would say the top 3 are going to be Avtab Pureval, Cecil Thomas, and I don't know after that. I don't know. We'll find out.
Is there a female candidate?
There is not. Nope. There's no. Last I heard, and again, Kelly, she might be out there. Kelly Prather, good morning to you. If you're out there, please chime in. But last I heard, she's not going to be on the ballot. But from what I saw on Facebook last, she's going to take it to the next level in terms of a lawsuit or appeal. I don't have all the details, but as of right now, she won't. As of right now, as I understand it, she will not be a part of this forum.
I'm surprised there is not a female candidate there locally trying to run.
She tried to run. She didn't get enough signatures. The Board of Elections said she didn't get the number of signatures that she needed on her petitions. I think she came up less than 50 short, like 30 short.
I'm surprised. I thought your next mayor, we've had enough of the mayors. I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, historically in that city, has there ever been a female mayor in that town?
No.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I take that back. There's never been a black female mayor. We had Roxanne Qualls.
Okay.
She was a mayor for a while. So we never had a black female.
Yeah, I'm surprised no black female candidate that has the power and the money, the clout to throw her high heels in the ring and run.
Alicia Reese ran a few years ago. There's folks around. There's folks around, but she didn't win.
Yeah, but let's recap on her. What was the story? Was it, from what I'm hearing, and I listen to Lincoln Ware show and various. I look at the local papers there. Why did she lose that race? Was it the black community didn't come out for her, or were there things underhandedly that
Yvette
wasn't
Simpson?
announced?
Sounds like you're talking about Yvette Simpson. Like, why did Yvette Simpson? Because again, I glossed over her. I jumped straight to Alicia Reese. Yvette Simpson ran 4 years ago. She ran 4 years ago. So it's black women out there that took a shot at the crown. They just didn't get it for whatever reason. So if you're asking about Yvette Simpson, did black women not turn out? I don't remember the numbers. She didn't get enough votes.
The feeling I'm getting from what I remember back then is the black community did not come out in force for her. It was split. And that's what goes on in politics when they don't want you in. If they can divide that character, the candidate that has a good shot at winning, they will try to do that to keep her out of it. And I don't think they wanted her in there for some reason that we probably will never know about. But I thought she had a good shot. And I came to town to support her 110%.
Oh yeah,
Even
you
though,
did. You did. You pervert. You flew all in here.
see,
You think you
see
had a
what,
shot, Yvette Simpson?
see, see what I
Man,
mean?
he was wilding,
You,
y'all. He was
you,
wilding,
you,
taking
you and
pictures of
Lincoln
Yvette.
Ware. I wish you and Lincoln stop putting that stuff out there. That I was
I was
coming to
there. I saw
support
it.
her.
I was kicking it
I
with you that
came.
night.
You know the reason why. Okay, I'm going to put this on the record, and I hope Lincoln Ware is listening. You know, I came to support her because she came out to support me when I was at the Underground Railroad Freedom Center,
Yes.
and I appreciate that. She
But you
came there.
also were sexually attracted to her. Don't stop
No,
lying.
I wasn't. You and
Oh my
Lincoln
God.
Ware.
Don't try to
You and
change it, John.
you and Lincoln put that stuff out there, and I wish
I
you
don't
stopped
know.
saying that.
You keep
You know.
saying Lincoln. I wasn't there with you with Lincoln. It was me and you that walked in their place together. Remember?
Right. But
It was
I
me and you
came.
that walked in there together. We was
I
walking
came.
through the crowd together. I was introducing you to people. You talking about Lincoln? I never saw Lincoln.
You know, I came. No, I'm saying. I heard Lincoln say almost roughly the same thing you said,
He probably
and
got it from me.
people were getting negative thoughts, thinking I was coming in there like a lapdog with my tongue out. No, I came
You
to
were.
support her. I came to support her because she supported me on the documentary when I was screening it at the Underground Railroad Freedom Center. Nothing else, nothing more.
Okay.
Strictly business.
Okay,
Business. I
brother.
was not. Well, she is
Right.
an attractive woman. I
See,
must say that. I'm not
I was there.
blind now.
You are
Come on.
you lying to the people, man. But I ain't gonna hold you to it, brother. I mean, listen,
I
I ain't
love.
judging you. You like to
I
if
love.
you
I
liked
love my
Yvette, you
black.
like Yvette.
I love my black women, but I kept it strictly business, nothing else, nothing personal, strictly business. Yes, she is a very attractive woman. I'm not saying I wasn't
I got a good
but
mind to take
I
this clip and email it to her. Like, look at my
what?
caller who's all into you.
Oh my God! But no, strictly business with her. I supported her. She supported me, so I came to support her. Nothing
Okay.
else. Nothing more.
Okay, man.
Let's get
I'm sure
you
you
and
did,
Lincoln.
but you also had a thing for her. You was
You and
taking
Lincoln.
pictures with her. It was not. I
Right.
was like, oh.
Well, yeah, I wanted to take a picture with her. Sure, that's fine. That's just a photo op. Hey, Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. Why can't I do it for once? You know, but yeah,
Because you was taking pictures not just with her but taking pictures of her that she didn't know about. Nothing I saw that was obscene or anything, but like
God.
from across the room, John snapped a photograph. Like, look what I got, Nate. I'm like,
God. Oh my God.
what
All
you
right,
do? Keep it
let's
to
leave
yourself.
that alone. Let's leave that alone for
Let's
people
leave it
think
alone. Let's leave it alone.
John is stalking her, and I wasn't
I
stalking.
never said I never said you was stalking. See, look what's in your mind.
Oh
See, now
my
you just
God.
told on yourself.
Well,
Now
you
you
and
just told
Lincoln
on yourself.
you
Talking
and
about I
Lincoln
wasn't
put that.
stalking her. I never
Well,
said that.
well, Choppers, for the record, no, I wasn't stalking her. I think she's a very intelligent, attractive woman. That's it. Nothing else, nothing more. Strictly business. She supported me. I supported her.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. Cool, John. Cool. Your rights. So John is a nasty little old man.
Oh, see what I mean? Oh my! I'm never coming to Cincinnati. Well, I'll come to Cincinnati, but I'm never going to. I'm never going to no event where Miss Simpson is there. I'm running far away if I come to Cincinnati. I don't want people to be thinking anything.
She on another level now. I'm not sure her schedule at
Oh
all, but
my
I think she's in and out of the city a lot.
Yeah, I keep a track on her, the local news, and see what she's doing. And I think she's on that ABC morning show with the former stupid governor, Chris Crispy, I call him. Yeah, she's on that show every now and then. They fly her in. So I think they have I think they have some political things for her in the future. I think somebody is setting her. I believe. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. She does run a political organization, doesn't she? Some kind of organization that she's running or something.
Democracy for America, some political organization, the political organization.
Yeah. I thought
One
I
of them
heard something
anyway.
like that.
Yeah, Democracy for America.
Now, what kind of suit, Mr. Nathan Ivey, do you have mapped out? You got 2 weeks to get it all mapped up for this big event, because nationally, people are going to be looking at you. I hope you're wearing one of those Al Sharpton Depper $500 suits on and prepared for this debate. Are you mentally and physically prepared for this debate? Have you been doing your exercises?
That's right. You did tell me that, John. John, I got to go, man. I got to go. Okay. But thank you for the call.
All right.
He just sucks you into the conversation. He's a great conversationalist. That's John right there. Have a great day, John. Thank you for all the stories and the creepy memories. of you stalking you stalking Yvette Simpson. Now, John, man, John came to town. Like I told you, to all the choppers, listeners of the show, when you come to the city, let me be your guide. I'll show you all the great places to eat, all the best spots. Is pre-COVID. Haven't been out much a whole lot during COVID, but I'll show you around town. And the way I like to do it is I ask people two things. What do you want to see and what do you like to eat? And that's my guide. That's my guide. What do you like to see and what do you like to eat? No matter what you like to eat, I know where the best is. I know where the best is. What are you in the mood for? Because you know how it is. People are traveling. They want to eat some different food. And typically people are traveling, eat the same stuff they always eat. Let me get a hamburger. You're not always in this space. You should get the special. What's the special? Get something special. For folks that want that email address to Cedric Denson, it's rep33 at ohiohouse.gov, ohiohouse.gov. And he says he can use that when it comes to his opportunity to speak during committee on this and use it as a part of his argument as to why it's not a good idea. Fast Pitch writes, not keeping a track on her, right. Kamar writes, chicken fingers and fries, please. You one of those? You one of those? Brian writes, zooming in. Kamar writes, what's John's last name? I missed it. You know what? I can't even remember what John's last name is. I've forgotten if I ever knew. We just say John from Florida. John from Florida. He loves Cincinnati, though. He travels to the city. Me, him, and Angela. Shout out to Angela, wherever she is this morning. Good morning to you, Angela. We met John over at a Black-owned restaurant in Clifton. Because, I got to rep my Black-owned restaurants to people when they come to the city. If people outside the city ask me where's the best place to eat, I'm telling you there's a Black-owned establishment. That's just me. That's the first thing coming out. I mean, you can find everything else on your own. You know what I'm saying? Rachel writes, Yvette needs to wear the red dress and tell him to vote. The red dress. Ooh, Rachel. That's a powerful combination for John. We know way too much about John and all his little picadillios, right? We know way too much about that. He loves the color red. Roxanne, you're hilarious. Nakia writes, AFTAB, answering John's question. I don't see any connection between John and Mr. Burns. You'd have to meet him, Jeannie. You have to meet him. He looks just like Black Mr. Burns. And before you think, oh, you talking about him behind his back, I said this to John to his face. Like, you know what? I think he might even told me people say it about him. He does. He looks like a Black Mr. Burns. You think I'm joking. You think I'm joking. If I put this picture up side by side with John, you think I'm joking. I swear to you, I talk radio, digital radio, swear to you this morning that if I put a picture of John side by side with that picture of Mr. Burns, that you're not going to tell me that there's similarities. I'm going to do it one day. I'm going to do it one day. I'm going to do it one day just to prove a point. You think I'm lying. I ain't saying it's like an identical twin. That's rare. I'm saying there's a lot of striking similarities. Just I want to preface it. Y'all in here being literal when it benefits you. He's a creep. Damn, Kamara. He's a creep. Man, what was John doing? He was just way too into Yvette. Where's Yvette? Where's Yvette? Taking pictures with Yvette. Then afterward, he showed me all these pictures he had of Yvette. And it just seems like in some of them, she wasn't aware that she was being photographed. I'm like, what the fuck is this man doing? I'm like, what is this man doing? And then man, it was a good night, though. It was a beautiful night. We were downtown at the, it's a little spot just like a couple of blocks away from Washington Park. And by a couple of blocks, I mean in the direction of Central Parkway. Anybody know that little establishment? It's got a nice little outdoor area as well. Anybody know what I'm talking about? I just can't think of it right now. So we were right there. And everybody was there. It was a who's who. John's walking through with me. I'm introducing them to people that I know. Like, hey, this is John. They're like, oh, this is John. Like, everybody knows John. Not just from this show, from Lincoln show or just talk shows. And I mean, John, man, listen. I have just been trolling, just looking for shit on the internet, and came across John talking to other talk radio hosts. I'm not joking. People I didn't even know exist. Like literally was listening to other shows, and they put up a clip and it's like John from somewhere, and it's John from fucking Florida. I swear to God. John gets around. He is a talk radio guy. It don't matter. He's always in the talk radio. Anywhere in the internet, around the globe, he's listening. Yo writes, what's the name of his book, Nathan? I can't remember the name of the book. You put me on the spot. It's back there behind me somewhere. I'd have to find it. But John is a dope artist, though. Listen. Don't let me get this twisted. John is a dope entrepreneur and artist. Super dope. You got to go to. He keeps saying go to his website. I mean, he ain't joking. When he said that somebody was about to buy his movie or interested, I don't doubt it one bit. And I don't doubt that it won't be a spectacular project as well. Like, no Joe, I fuck with John and we joke and all that kind of stuff. But John is serious about his creativity and his grind. Super serious. Like when I say he wrote a book for real. Deep with knowledge and research and stuff. I think it's about the black women of World War II or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute since I've opened it, but I got a copy last time he was here. John is super dope in that area. Just don't vote. That's what I don't understand about John. I was gonna say it's a real question. How is such a smart, intelligent man so utterly just dumb on the smart dumb cat? How is he so smart in one area and dumb in the other area in terms of just talking about things but never voting? Or maybe we'll find out that John's the smartest one after all. I don't know. Robert writes, John non-legend. See, there you go. Let him be his best John. John non-legend. Nat writes, so John is rocking a George Jefferson fro? LOL. See, I'm going to have to get the photographs. Now I've opened the door for speculation. Sarah writes, y'all trying to say John looks like a troll. I'm not trying to say that. Yo writes, Nathan, John was just there to support her. Don't do that. Don't do what, yo? I'm keeping it real with you. I said the same thing to John that night. I'm like, yo, bro, leave her alone. I kept saying it to him. Leave her alone. I wonder, I never talked to Yvette about this, but I wonder if she was even aware of the fact that she had a really, 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 really big fan in the house that night. And she actually lost. That was like supposed to be her victory party. I was there for the party for sis, right? And she ended up losing. So, the energy's not there. People are not so happy. I love the winners parties. The winners parties, man. Oh my God, that was the best. Drinks are flowing. You know what I'm saying? People are laughing. People are happy. You know what I'm saying? Deals are being made. Get in early. Charles writes, I'm going to go to the corner after I say this. Those pics of Yvette were for his spank bank. I know. To the corner. Yes, you're right. To the corner, sir. To the corner. Spank bank. That's what we out here doing now? Come on, yo. We got a reputation to live up to. We can't do that. Spank bank. Oh, my gosh. What am I doing? Dear Lord. I thought we were on a good path, but now it's all downhill. Thank you for that. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Well, I'm reading that the Board of Elections has responded to the complaints about ballot language. You heard about this? The fight is over a charter amendment that would require the city to devote $50 million a year to affordable housing. Proponents say it's a necessary step to help Cincinnatians who've been struggling for years. Opponents say it would destroy the budget. What do you say, my friends? Everybody else has been talking about this, and perhaps this will be the first of a series of conversations about this topic. But there's a big fight right now about this charter amendment and what the language should say and what it does say. And is it biased? Some people say that there's allegations that people are changing it so that it will get an intended outcome. More than 9,500 Cincinnatians signed a petition to put the measure on the ballot. On March 3rd, Cincinnati City Council voted to substantially change the wording voters will see when they check yes or no. Some say, or city officials say, that the new wording adds details that is imperative, essential for voters to understand what they're voting for. The big difference, as I understand it, is that the initial ballot language did not include the price tag. And so they changed it to include the price tag. Critics of this is saying that it'll bankrupt the city and they'll have to fire emergency workers. Proponents say we got to do something serious to deal with the crises that we're dealing with right now. And we got a real housing crisis right now. So we got to make some tough decisions. What do you think about it? Have you heard about this? What do you think? What do you think? 513-873-7134. So the Inquirer did an article in which they said, the title is, "These are the people pushing this." So you got the Greater Cincinnati Homeless Coalition, as reported by the Inquirer, Metropolitan Area Religious Coalition of Cincinnati, Affordable Housing Advocates. Those are the people that are pushing for this $50 million per year. Can the city afford something like that? I mean, has there been any analysis done about what the impact would be? And if so, shouldn't it really be the will of the voters? Like, if it's the will of the voters, because I know some Republicans are saying that this is really an attempt to defund the police, right? That's what some people are saying. It's an attempt to defund the police on the low, because to meet the requirements of it, they're going to have to defund the police. What do you think if you live in the city of Cincinnati? We're talking a lot of local stuff today. Graston writes, "Everyone loves the Winners Party. Banging some Drizzy and Future. Where you at? Hashtag alt middle." Oh, I saw you, bro. I saw you down there when Jeff Pastor was that night. Telling you, the room was so emotional. It was so emotional. There was so much electricity in the room. That's why I like to go to the Winner's Circle, because there was an electricity in the room. And then when it was official, you saw the candidate embracing his family, these very pure moments of just professional joy, or just that feeling. I mean, take the personalities out of it, right? Just that beauty in the moment of a goal accomplished, right? Whether you agree or voted for or whatever, like Jeff Pastor, I mean, I thought it was a very beautiful moment. I was privileged to be a fly on the wall that night. Super dope. Yes. Michael writes, "Fantasy Files," as in Yvette being in John from Florida's Fantasy File. I don't even want to touch that, man, to be honest with you. I don't even want to touch it. Probably, though. I'm still stuck on Spank Bank. Oh, my God. Nat writes, do the winners have on schmedium shirts? Schmedium shirts. Oh, man. The winners are very, very happy. You're seeing people come into influence and power, right? It's a very interesting thing to observe. Again, 513-873-7134. Damn, we almost at the top of the hour? The top of the hour? Really? Damn, time is going fast. Let me jump inside the chop shop this morning. Lynn writes, "Good morning, great people." John likes Yvette, but he loves the Latin mommies. The Latin mommies. I tell you, we know way too much about John. John, let's just say he travels the world and he takes himself. Pat writes, good morning. Tungsten Ron writes, rise and shine, young stars. Tracy writes, hi. People who say Kirk was wrong have not been tested by their kids. Wait for it. What makes you think I am not foreign to that idea, Tracy? I get it. I get it. But so you telling me that's a thing now. So again, I'm brand new to this. So it's a thing now for people, for parents to refer to their kid, like a father to refer to his son as a bitch ass nigga. And not like in a joking and lighthearted kind of stuff. Like, stop drinking bitch ass. Like, if you would do that. But like, seriously, you think he is because you mad right now. I'm just saying, like, I reserve that kind of stuff for strangers, man. You do that with people out in these streets that you don't know. Your child? I'm not saying I'm not going to get with Junior. I could tell the day is coming. He all kissing me today. But one day, I get it. We're going to have that moment. And I'm going to override the situation. Okay? I already know. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, and Tracy over here trying to not deal with the truth. He is Kirk's child. Child means he's not the parent. Kirk is the parent. The parent should always act like the parent. Period. And it's a lot of parents that went too far with their kids. It happens, but don't act like it's right. It's funny because yesterday I was in the, Black Business Unite Cincinnati group. I think that's what it's called. Somebody posted a question like, should you ever apologize to your kids or explain things to your kids? And I just thought the question itself was so odd because the answer is obviously 100% yeah. They're humans. They're just little humans. And they should be given rights and respect. Isn't that how you want them to be? Yeah. I thought it was odd, but it's the days we live in that we even got to ask these kind of questions. Miss D writes, greetings. Ray writes, what's the repercussion when the police taunt an order for more justification to assault or kill? Well, good police would never do that, Ray. They're there to do a dangerous job. They would never even think of doing something like that. Yeah, I mean, from what I understood, family, it's just a terrible idea all the way around. And all it's going to do is lead to the restriction of the democratic process, restriction of people's freedoms. I mean, it's so wild that if they pass something like this, I would not be shocked to see an avalanche of legal challenges because you don't have the right to tell a police officer that you can see that they're killing somebody because you might distract them from killing somebody. That doesn't really make any sense. But again, it makes for an interesting conversation. And we need to know because we don't want any of this in the state of Ohio for any length of time. Not at all. Good morning to you. He's not a child. Sarah writes, he's not a child at 33 years of age. He's not a child. Okay. So if he's not a child, that means that Kurt Franklin's not a parent. Well, we know that's true because Kurt Franklin is his parent. So he is a child. He is the child of Kurt Franklin. They have a child-parent relationship. They're never going to be parent to parent, right? They're never going to be, it's always going to be one is the parent and the other is the child on some level because one is the parent and the other is the child. I don't care if the child gets 105. If the parent is 135 and they're still alive, then that's the parent. Period. Y'all tripping. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning, Nathan. It's Kev on a cell. How are you, sir?
Hey, what up, Kev on a cell? What's up, brother? Got to catch up with you, man.
Absolutely. No worries. So, first off, Kurt should have hung up the phone, went over there, and handled his business as the father of that grown man. Take some video, take some audio of me trying to show me up. And my dad, anyway. The thing about the taunting thing is actually really disconcerting, man. I mean, that's really, first off, so now you're telling me that our police officers are so thin-skinned, right? That if I yell words at you, Mister, I got a taser, a gun, pepper spray, a whole belt full of tools, handcuffs, all kind of stuff. If I yell something at you, that you should have a right to retaliate and put me in jail. Come on, man, where they do that at? What happened to freedom of speech? Oh, you don't have it if you're speaking to the police officers? That doesn't make sense, man, at all. Number one, if you don't have the restraint to let that, glance off your back, man, you shouldn't be a police officer at all. Nowhere, ever. Because I'm pretty sure that the criminals, they're probably not the most cultured, morally, you know what I'm saying? You feel me, Nate? Like, so you want to go out and arrest people that have good manners. And, I'm committing a robbery, but I'll say thank you and please while I do it. That don't make sense, man. That's crazy. And so if I'm standing by and you doing something stupid to somebody and I call you out your name because, quite frankly, you making me mad because you should have your knee on that man's neck that long or at all, ever, right? You gon' just, that don't make sense. I was involved with some stuff a long time ago. Didn't do anything wrong. Flat out did not do nothing wrong. Kind of wrong place, wrong time. And the officer that was doing what he was doing decided that it was time to arrest me too. Now, me being me, college educated, all of that good stuff. I'm like, man, let's just take me down. Well, to take me down, he had to literally take me down. And he felt like, I'm going to show force and I'm going to slam this dude on his face. Scratch me up and everything. You know what I'm saying? This is not something I'm just saying. This is something I live. That dude had no reason to do that to me. None at all. And so when people out here, talking about the police have rights and they this and that, and you got a special kind of privilege going on when you put that badge on your chest. And I know some great cops. I know some dudes, man, I give them the shirt off my back, and I mean that. Like, they are great dudes. But I ain't even gonna lie to you, even those guys, given the right situation, and with the adrenaline flowing and everything else, I don't even know. But so now the adrenaline's pumping, you got a gun on your hip, and I cuss you out. You gonna put 3 on my chest? Come on, man. Taunting? Really? Sticks and stones. And we learned that when we was like 4. Like 4 years old, my mom was like, sticks and stones, break your bones. Words will never hurt you. So, yeah, we like you said a moment ago, man, we got to make sure that never comes to light. And if our cops are so thin-skinned, then maybe it's time to take a new class and it's time to retire some folks. Bro, that's just real tough. Kurt, if you're listening to the Nathan Ivy Show right now, Kurt, go over there and your son right in the head. Just smack him with the open hand, man, and be like, shut up and sit down somewhere. Hey, man, I ain't got nothing else. Be blessed. It is what it is.
Hey, Kev on the sale. It is what it is. It is what it is. It's Kev on the sale. So, I mean, whatever happened to just like you, if you're talking with your kid's on some slick and greasy issue, just hang up on her. Listen, I got to go. I'll talk to you later. Whatever happened to that? I know that's not a thing anymore, huh? Quite interesting. Again, want to remind you as we roll out this morning that you are invited to the public swearing in and reception honoring Charlie Winburn, who is the first African-American Hamilton County treasurer. This event is Friday at Corinthian Baptist Church from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. I wonder if they're live streaming it. That'd be interesting. Could I ask Charlie that? For more information, call Zakiya Allen at 513-477-8098. FYI, there's a complimentary box lunch to go for all participants. Social distancing space will be in full effect, and masks are required. If you're coming, wear your mask. Showing up with no mask on, talking and breathing, Come on, we civilized folks over here, taking it seriously. Also, don't wait too long. Get your free ebook today and sign up for 30 minutes of coaching. Many people are, as we speak, and have already. And I don't want you to be way, way back in the line and have to wait for a long time for your scheduled 30 minutes of free coaching. Have you ever had a free life coach or a life coach? Have you ever had a business coach? This could be an opportunity for you to get an objective viewpoint from a man with a life full of life experiences. And what is more valuable than that to human beings? So, as part of the Focus 2021 series, download it today at renewcommunitychurch.org. There's a link in the description for those that are interested. I got to make a move, family. Thank you so much for being here as always. I really appreciate you. Somebody asked me, Nate, what kind of equipment do you use? I like your camera. So I'm thinking about doing like a studio tour type of video that I'll put out. If I put it, I'm going to put it out to my patrons first. Okay, to my supporters so you can see it first. Just to take you around the studio. I mean, you might want to build your own studio. I can definitely be of service in those areas. All right. So have an excellent rest of your day, family. We'll talk real soon. All right. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I want to tell you about a brand new podcast. We'll be live streaming called Melanin Insights. Their audio version is up right now. You can check it out for yourself. And they're going to be live streaming. We're planning on live streaming this weekend, actually. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a new 30 to maybe 45-minute live stream show hosted by two melanated women and giving their own opinion. You'll be able a chance to chime in and share your thoughts. All right. Melanin Insights. That's the name of it. All right. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. I will connect with you real soon. Tomorrow morning, we'll chop it up at 7:30 a.m. Viva La Chapas. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you for being here. People have asked about donations. I guess I should put that up more. But if you ever want to donate to the show and to the cause of amplifying Black voices in the greater Cincinnati area and beyond, I'm on PayPal at the Nathan Ivy Show. I'm also on Cash App, Nathan Ivy Show. So if you'd like to make a donation for the cause in this show, I would appreciate it. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. Until next time, I'm Nathan Ivy, and I'm out.